what he has seen with his own eyes 2 miles down under ice are hieroglyphs that archaeologists that he was in, that was the mission.
There is a continent at the bottom of the world that no government fully lets you into, a place buried under 2 miles of ice where restricted airspace, classified military documents, and decades of whistleblower testimonies all point to one thing: something is being hidden. Linda Moulton Howe is a Stanford-educated, Emmy Award-winning journalist, and she has spent 40 years chasing the truth about Antarctica. And now she is done staying quiet. This is what she found. In 1981, Linda Moulton Howe produced a documentary called A Strange Harvest for CBS affiliate KMGH-TV in Denver. The documentary investigated the mysterious deaths of cattle across the American Midwest, where animals were being found mutilated in surgically precise ways with no tracks, no blood, and no obvious explanation. The documentary won her an Emmy Award and also opened a door she would never be able to close. Because in the process of making that film, Linda started meeting people: military personnel, government scientists, intelligence insiders, people who pulled her aside after interviews and told her things that never made it into the final cut. And those conversations pointed her toward a much bigger picture than dead cattle in a Colorado field. Over the following decades, she built a reputation as a serious investigative journalist who was willing to go where others would not. She launched her website, earthfiles.com, which became a hub for documented reports, audio testimonies, and sourced investigations into phenomena that mainstream outlets ignored. She testified before the Senate Commerce Committee. She was featured in dozens of documentaries and spoke at conferences attended by scientists, military veterans, and government officials from around the world. And through all of it, Antarctica kept coming up. To understand why Antarctica matters, you need to understand just how strange the official story actually is. Antarctica is the 5th largest continent on Earth. It is larger than Europe. Beneath its ice sheet lies an entire landscape of mountains, valleys, lakes, and geological formations that have not been fully explored. Scientists confirmed in 2016 that there is a massive geothermal heat source beneath the West Antarctic ice sheet, which means parts of that continent are generating warmth from below in ways that researchers still do not fully understand. Then there's the question of the Antarctic Treaty. Signed in 1959 by 12 nations, including the United States, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdom, the treaty established Antarctica as a zone for peaceful scientific research. No military activity, no territorial claims, no weapons testing. On paper, it sounds perfectly reasonable. But here's what makes people ask questions. The treaty has been renewed and expanded multiple times. Today, there are 56 nations signed onto it. The continent is patrolled. There are no-fly zones over certain areas that have never been satisfactorily explained. Private expeditions are heavily restricted. Journalists who have tried to independently access certain regions have been turned back. And then there are the structures. In 2016, satellite images circulated widely showing what appeared to be large pyramid-shaped formations rising from the ice in Antarctica. Scientists were quick to explain these as nunataks, which are natural rocky peaks shaped by millions of years of wind erosion into angular geometric forms. That explanation is almost certainly correct for those specific formations. But Linda Moulton Howe's sources were not talking about nunataks. Over a period of many years, Linda collected testimonies from a very specific group of individuals. These were not anonymous internet users or attention-seeking hoaxers. These were retired military personnel, former government contractors, and scientific researchers who had worked in Antarctica and who came to Linda in private, often years after leaving their roles, with stories they felt compelled to share before they died. One of the most significant testimonies she documented came from a retired Navy flight engineer who claimed he had been part of a classified mission in Antarctica in the 1990s. He described flying over a region of the continent that was not on any of his official charts and seeing what he described as an opening in the ice, large enough to fly a cargo aircraft through, with dark walls going down at an angle and artificial lighting visible inside. He said his crew was ordered to never speak about what they saw and that all their notes and photographs from that flight were confiscated upon landing. Linda spent months verifying this man's identity, his service record, and the details of his account. She could confirm he had served in Antarctica. She could confirm the base he described existed. She could not confirm what he saw inside the ice, but she could not find any reason to disbelieve him either. Another source was a former employee of a private defense contractor who claimed to have worked on seismic survey equipment deployed in a restricted zone of Antarctica. He told Linda that the survey data they collected showed anomalies deep beneath the ice that his supervisors described to him only as pre-ice structures, meaning structures that existed before the current ice sheet formed. He was told this was classified and that the data would be handled by a separate team he never met. Linda documented both of these accounts on earthfiles.com with as much verifiable detail as the sources would allow. She did not sensationalize, she presented them as testimonies requiring further investigation, but she also made clear she believed these people were telling the truth. Any serious conversation about Antarctica and government secrecy has to start with Operation High Jump. In 1946 and 1947, the United States Navy launched one of the largest Antarctic expeditions in history. It was led by Rear Admiral Richard Byrd and involved 4,700 military personnel, 13 ships, and 33 aircraft. The official purpose was scientific research and to establish an American presence on the continent. The operation was originally scheduled to last 6 to 8 months. It ended after 8 weeks. The Navy has never given a fully satisfying public explanation for why the mission was cut short. Admiral Byrd himself gave an interview to a Chilean newspaper upon his return, in which he warned about the possibility of attacks on the United States from craft capable of flying from pole to pole at incredible speeds. The interview was real, it was published, and then it was essentially ignored by the American press. In his official debrief to the Secretary of the Navy, classified details of which have been partially released through Freedom of Information Act requests over the years, Byrd described the continent as having strategic importance that went beyond anything publicly acknowledged. Specific sections of those documents remain classified to this day, more than 75 years after the mission. Linda Moulton Howe has cited Operation High Jump extensively in her research, not as proof of anything extraterrestrial, but as documented evidence that the United States government has long treated Antarctica as something far more sensitive than a scientific zone. And she argues that understanding what actually ended that mission is central to understanding everything that has happened in Antarctica since. For years, Linda Moulton Howe maintained a careful balance in how she presented her findings. She would share testimonies, present documents, and ask questions, but she would stop short of drawing definitive conclusions. This is standard journalistic practice, and she was following it responsibly. But in recent interviews and presentations, most notably in materials she released through earthfiles.com and appearances in 2024 and into 2025, Linda went further than she ever had before. She stated directly that based on everything she has gathered over 4 decades, she believes there are ancient, non-human structures beneath the ice in Antarctica. She believes the governments with operations there know this, and she believes the reason this has not been publicly disclosed is that the implications are so significant that those in power have decided the public is not trusted to handle the information without social and political collapse. She used the phrase, "I must tell the truth," in describing why she felt it was time to stop hedging. She spoke about the age and poor health of many of her primary sources and her concern that their accounts would die with them if she continued to be cautious.
She acknowledged that she cannot prove everything she has been told, but she stated that the convergence of testimonies, documents, satellite imagery anomalies, and behavioral patterns of world governments around Antarctica had convinced her beyond reasonable journalistic doubt that something extraordinary was being hidden. This was a significant moment, not because Linda says something makes it true, but because a credentialed, Emmy-winning journalist with 40 years of documented sourcing was willing to put her professional reputation fully on the line and say it out loud. It is important to be honest about what we know and what we do not know, because in stories like this, the line between documented fact and speculation can get blurry very quickly. Here is what science has confirmed. Antarctica contains subglacial lakes, the largest of which is Lake Vostok, a liquid freshwater lake the size of Lake Ontario that has been sealed beneath more than 2 miles of ice for somewhere between 15 and 25 million years. Scientists drilled into it in 2012 and found microbial life that had evolved in total isolation for millions of years. This was a genuinely extraordinary scientific discovery that received far less public attention than it deserved. Scientists have also confirmed, using radar imaging and satellite data,
that Antarctica's subglacial landscape includes valleys, mountain ranges, and formations that predate the ice sheet by millions of years. The continent was once forested. It was once connected to other land masses. The geological history of Antarctica is far more complex than most people realize. What science has not confirmed is the presence of artificial structures. No peer-reviewed study has documented anything beneath the ice that could not be explained by natural geological processes. The scientists who work in Antarctica through programs like the United States Antarctic Program, which is managed by the National Science Foundation, have not reported anything anomalous that supports the accounts Linda's sources describe. But Linda's argument, and it is not an unreasonable one journalistically, is that the scientists conducting publicly disclosed research may simply not have access to the areas where those anomalies exist. Whether or not ancient structures exist beneath Antarctic ice, the story of Linda Moulton Howe and Antarctica raises questions that are worth taking seriously. Why does a continent with no indigenous population, no national owner, and supposedly only peaceful scientific activity require such heavily restricted access? Why do declassified military documents from operations like high jump contain sections that remain classified 3/4 of a century later? Why do multiple independent individuals with verified military and government service records report similar experiences of seeing things in Antarctica that they were ordered to never discuss? These are not questions invented by conspiracy theorists. They are questions that arise directly from the documented public record, and they are questions that governments with operations in Antarctica have consistently declined to answer in any meaningful way. Linda Moulton Howe has spent more time and effort trying to answer these questions than almost anyone on Earth. She has done it with sources, with documents, and with a track record that includes legitimate professional credentials. People can disagree with her conclusions, but dismissing her work without engaging with the evidence she has collected is not skepticism, it is avoidance. She is now in her 80s. The sources she has spent decades protecting are aging and dying, and she has decided that the time for careful hedging is over. What she has told the world is this: something is down there. Multiple governments know what it is, and the decision to keep it from the public was made a very long time ago by people who decided they knew better than everyone else what humanity was ready to hear. Whether she is right is a question that may not be answered in her lifetime, but the fact that a Stanford-educated, Emmy Award-winning journalist is asking it and has spent 40 years building a documented case means it deserves to be taken seriously by anyone willing to look honestly at the evidence. Antarctica is the most remote place on Earth, but the secrets being kept there, if Linda Moulton Howe is even half right, may be closer to all of us than we think.
And to understand just how deep government secrecy around unexplained phenomena actually goes, and what other credible whistleblowers have risked their lives to reveal, click the video on screen right now. The story does not stop in Antarctica. It is only just beginning. If you made it this far, drop a comment below telling me what you think is actually beneath that ice. And if you want more stories like this, hit that subscribe button right now.